Hey, what's going on? Welcome to Built for the Stage podcast. This is Joe Roscoe, founder and host of Built for the Stage, Broadway's #1 fitness platform, with clients in over 20 Broadway shows and other stages across the globe, like the West End in London, Australia, collegiate theaters across the US, etc. We are your one-stop shop for all things fitness and theater. Head on over to builtforthestage.com to start your 1-week free trial where you'll work one-on-one with me on an interactive fitness app, builtforthestage.com. All right, let's get on to our special guest. As always, special guest, excited for this one. Love the show. I've seen it on Broadway and on the West End, and the music is just, you're at a concert and you're just watching these fabulous performers sing their faces off. Our guest did make their Broadway debut. They're an alternate in the cast of Six, the musical. Please welcome to Built for the Stage podcast, Kristina Leopold.
Yay!
How are you? Happy Tuesday. It's your day off, you just said. Amazing.
Yes, love a day off. Yes. Thanks for having me.
I appreciate you taking the time on your day off to say hello and to chat with us. I see a piano and a guitar behind you. Are you? Is this you? Are you a musician of this sort? You play piano and guitar?
Piano's there, guitar not so much. Used to be a violinist. That was my MO. Yeah, but this is a roommate's situation. So
got it. Oh wait, so before we jump onto the hot seat, tell me about the violin. When did you start that?
Yeah, I started playing in 4th grade. And then played through high school, and then stopped, as college happened and I was double majoring and killing myself doing that. So it kind of fell to the wayside, but I used to play in church a lot during that time. So, but I haven't picked it up in a while, so I need to get back on it.
Okay. Got it. You grew up in LA, yeah?
Yes. Yeah.
What's that like growing up in LA? Many people will move to LA, New York City, yada, yada. But what's the experience as a kid in LA?
Yeah. I mean, I love LA. I'm in the county, but I grew up in Claremont, California, which is in the Inland Empire. So still the county, but not LA proper. So it's just a cute little suburban college town. I don't know. So I miss it a lot. I miss having a car. I miss being able to drive everywhere. We don't love LA traffic, but I'll take it for my alone time in the car. So it was quite a jarring experience moving out to New York to do this, but yeah.
Got it. All right, cool. That's actually prompting me to one of our hot seat questions, something you just mentioned. So I'm going to get into it here in a second. So we're jumping on the BFTS hot seat. Going to cue some music here. Here we go. All right. First question, something you said there, that alone time in the car. Yeah. Obviously, a lot of us will listen to music while in the car. What's one song, you wake up and you're like, I just need something to vibe. I need something to get me going. What's one of those songs that you're always going to play?
Oof. So I'm a church girl, so it would certainly be any kind of gospel, Kirk Franklin, bumping gospel music, anything like that.
All right, sweet. Awesome. If you were in a time machine and you had your little Back to the Future, if you will, computer in front of you, which decade and place would you go to?
Oh gosh, that's so hard. That's hard because I think I'd have to switch bodies. If I was no longer black, then I would have unlimited options,
Okay.
So maybe I'd say the 50s.
Okay.
Oh gosh, I don't know. I'd love to go to some speakeasy in the 50s. I couldn't tell you exactly where, but something like that.
Okay. All right. Cool. If you could have dinner with anyone alive or passed away, who would you have dinner with?
Probably, her name is Melba Mills. She was one of Little Rock Nine, which was one of the first 9 kids to integrate the first high school ever after Brown versus Board of Education. So I would love to just sit down with her and ask her about her experiences. And I love her book, Warriors Don't Cry. So I'd love to talk to her. Yeah.
Okay, amazing. Say her name one more time.
Melba Beals.
Okay, Melba Beals. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put that in the description of this episode. So if anyone wants to check, you said the book, yeah? The title? What was it?
Warriors Don't Cry.
All right, cool. I'm gonna put that. So if anyone wants to check that out, go ahead. All right. Continuing on with the hot seat. If you could have your dream job besides being a performer, what would like a dream job be?
So I am fascinated by the human body.
Okay.
For a long time, I really wanted to do autopsies. Like I love anatomy and like dissecting, so that would certainly be it. I just was like, I'm not majoring in biology, so that's why we ended up here instead.
Okay, cool. All right, last question on the hot seat. You turn on the TV and a movie is on the TV. What is that one movie or one of the movies that like you just can't turn off? Like, oh, I got to stop and watch this.
Any Star Wars film.
Okay,
Period.
there we go. Amazing. Okay, so you're a Star Wars fan. All right, so you're off the hot seat. Congratulations. But we're still gonna jump into the Star Wars thing. When did that happen?
My Star Wars obsession?
Yeah, did someone like influence you into that when you were younger, or like you just chose for yourself where you're like, I love Star Wars?
Yeah, I think like when the prequels were coming out, I had a friend who was like, we're gonna watch them all. Or when the last prequel was coming out. So then sat down, watched them in like cinematic order, not release order. And I loved it. And I got super into the how it was made, technology side of it, and learned way too much about what they used to make a sound for the TIE fighter engine or whatever. So, and I just kind of became obsessed, and R2D2 is my best friend. So we love it.
Do you have like an R2D2 book bag or anything like that? Or like a
100%, yes.
Do you do?
I really do. I have the mug as well. Like we're a big fan of the droids. Yeah.
Got it. Okay, so y'all are besties. All right, cool. Yeah. Okay, so let's get into like little backstory. So you're in LA. You start with the violin in 4th grade.
Mm-hmm.
Are you singing at church, or are you doing that when you're younger? Like when does like singing and when does that happen?
Singing was like always a thing that I enjoyed doing. My mom always was like playing musicals and taking me to go see musicals growing up, but I didn't have like I want to do that until probably like 8th grade, or 7th grade rather. I was in an English class and we got extra credit if we went to go see like the show at the local playhouse or whatever, in which Derek Klena was starring, which is crazy. Like we're from the same hometown area. So I saw that show and I was like, I might want to do this. And then I took an aptitude test as well. And it was like, you should sing in musicals, like literally. So I was like, okay, great. So then it became singing alongside acting and dancing. And now it feels weird to do singing by itself without acting and dancing. So yeah, that's how they all married together.
Okay, so you mentioned your mom. She's into the arts a lot. Was she like a big influential person when it came to that when you were growing up?
Yeah, totally. I mean, we're big Sound of Music household. So my mom's always singing advice to me, and I don't know, always something was playing. So, and she did like choir when she was younger, and so she sings. I love her voice. She'd never she's very shy. Like she would never, put herself on stage, but totally she was a big influence. She always says like, I may have put the gifts there, but like, I don't know where you got the outgoingness to like go out and do that in front of all those people. Cause like she could never or would never, but yeah.
Is that organic for you? Or did someone else influence you to have the courage to just, put your talents on display?
I think I've always been, I guess more so as a child, before like inhibitions and insecurities kick in, I was like super outgoing. And I think I'd gotten into theater soon enough in that before like the outside world me became shy. And then I think theater was always kind of the outlet for that outgoing, like I can just be me and completely me and feel free on stage. And if we're shy off stage, doesn't matter because that's my time to be free.
Okay, so would you consider yourself an introverted extrovert? Is that you?
I am an extroverted introvert.
Oh,
So I'm
okay.
literally like 51% introvert and like 49% extrovert. So I really need my alone time, but like I love a small group setting. Like I'll take all of that, but parties and big events like certainly overwhelm me and I need to recharge afterwards.
Right, right. Okay, I'm the same way.
Okay, cool.
I'm okay. So how do you tap into the courage? Like, because you mentioned when I was younger, I
Mhm,
was, outgoing and didn't think twice about, putting on a show. But then as you grow older,
mhm.
insecurities, just all of that starts to kick in. How do you, on a daily basis, like, how do you overcome that? What is it about yourself or your commitments, talents, etc.? What gets you through that, like, I don't know, self-sabotaging, if you will, of like
Mm,
telling yourself not to do it?
yeah. Lots of therapy.
Yeah.
For one, I love my life coach madly. She has saved the day. And Lots of affirmations, lots of knowing that, like telling myself he was kind, he was smart, he was important,
Mhm.
and knowing that I bring something to the table when I enter a room, and saying things that sound crazy coming out of your mouth, but like things that you need to say, like I'm a gift to whoever's in my presence, like things
Mm.
like that. Just a lot of self affirmations to put on that bold face to get out there and be courageous. So
Yeah. Okay. So that's one thing about being a gift in the presence of others. What about, like, not to pry or be like overly
no, no.
personal, but like things you're working on or did work on that was like really helpful to your day to day that maybe other people listening now could benefit from?
Yeah. I think a lot was focused on being comfortable in my own skin. I think like I'm a very ethnically mixed person. So I am black, white, and there's a touch of Asian in there as well. So, um, but certainly like I'm more black presenting, I guess. So post 2020 was like a very weird seat to sit in,
Mm.
with like, am I in a room full of black people where it is my job as a mixed individual to amplify their voices, or am I in a room full of white people where it's my job to speak up? So
Mm.
it was like a weird like juxtaposition. So I think my life coach helped me to be like comfortable and know what value I bring to the rooms that I'm in. Yeah, I think in social dynamics, I learned a lot about how to do relationships healthier. I kind of was always somebody that was like, here's all the things that have happened to me in my life and like all this trauma, and would just like throw it out there and be like, now would you like to be my friend? Instead of like, Christina, like, we don't need to be doing that. Like,
Oh,
you're worth somebody's time, and you bring value to the rooms that you're in, and somebody's lucky to be your friend. So we can go forward in the relationship and learn what their favorite color is first before we're be like, this is what happened to me. So
yeah.
that's been significantly helpful in creating relationships full of people that value me and honor me, and just how I feel and making me feel comfortable in every room that I walk into.
Nice. So you joined, in that same light. You joined the cast in December, which means just a little bit before that, at some point, you were
Mhm,
auditioning for this show to get this
mhm.
track to make your debut. What from your life coach and these sessions and things you've learned did you take into that audition process with you, when maybe sometimes when the stakes are high, people can lose themselves, if you will,
Mhm.
during that time?
Yeah. Well, precursor to that is anytime you're flying out for a New York callback is like very intimidating.
Mm.
This was my first time flying out to New York to do a callback. I did not go to an initial call for six. So the first time they saw me was for an invited callback, which was very like to get on that plane and book the hotel room. And that creates the high stakes, right? So I think with the help of humans in my life, in addition to my life coach, I just kind of have started saying you're welcome instead of thank you when I walk into an audition room. Like, you're welcome. I showed up and I'm everything that you wanted. You're welcome. Like, I'm here. So just kind of putting on that like boss mentality, in something that's that intimidating, where it's like, I'll just treat it like it's my first rehearsal. and take the stakes out of it, because I definitely was like, okay, we've just spent a lot of money to come out here and no guarantee of a job. And if I could be here just one day and get cut, I could be here all 3 days over the next week that they want me here. Like, it's just a lot to think about. So to take the pressure off, I was like, well, you're welcome. I showed up and it's just a rehearsal. So I'm just here to have fun and like learn some show choreo and just kind of like be comfortable in my own skin and take my own control in the environment where you have none.
Yeah. Okay. Amazing. How was it? How many do you cover multiple tracks?
Yes.
Okay. How many of the queens do you cover?
I cover 3, so I know half of that show.
Okay. So yeah, the reason I wanted to ask was, going into it, had you taken on such a role or requirement where you had to learn as many songs and things like that?
Yes and no. So what I was doing before this, I just got home May of last year, and I was seen in for 6 within the week that I got home. But I was working in Hong Kong for about 2 years. I was at Hong Kong Disneyland, and I was doing the Lion King show there. So I played Nala for like the first year and a half, and then they changed my contract to be a Rafiki contract, which I was like, what, me? Like, was so shocked. Like, that's a lot of songs. And then for a while there, I was doing both. So I was like kind of a weird swing. But I had already known Nala for so long that it was like, oh, I'm just learning a new role. And I pretty much know it because I've been doing the show for so long. So that was like the closest thing I'd ever gotten to doing 2 lead roles. But 6 is an entirely different beast. It is much more material, much more singing. And every time you go on that stage, you are a lead, you are a principal. So it's not like I've done ensemble where I've understudied a lead, like I've done that, but this where you are covering 3 principal tracks that are all equal in weight and time given to your queen specifically. I had never done anything to that degree before.
Yeah. How about, okay, so for me, I would feel like the most scared about the harmonies more than singing like the principal's like main songs, because when you're in the ensemble as an understudy, you might have to shuffle around your harmonies depending on which track you're on, but there's not a ton of pressure because you also have the rest of the ensemble singing with you. But when y'all are just kind of like carrying your own line most of the time, how was that process?
Oh, it's cute. It's really cute. So the musical supervisor, Roberta, says like, I've got it the worst because I have Aragon, who is on the very bottom. I have Parr, who's dead in the middle, and I have Seymour, who's second from the top. So none of my parts intersect at any point in the show. So I'm always like, okay, who am I today? And just the first note of the show is us just saying the word live and holding it out. But I'm always like standing there in the dark being like, who am I? La, 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 la. Like just trying to remember who I am. So the harmonies is hard. Thankfully, I do love music and like I read music and I'm very like music nerd. So that helped a lot with the harmonies. We also have alternate rehearsals fairly regularly. We play harmony roulette where like our MD will be like, you're Seymour and you're Parr and you're da da da. Like we're just going to play a part of the show and you're going to sing your harmony to make sure that we know it. So those are helpful as well to keep track of who we are that day and what it's going to be. But it is a challenge for sure.
Got it. How often do you have the rehearsals?
They are every Thursday, which is much more than like a normal alternate or understudy rehearsal. But I get it because we are principals every time we go on and there's no hiding. Like there's no like, can I go off stage real quick and look at my script? Like there's none of that. Like we are on stage the entire show. So you gotta just really know it. So I understand and I appreciate that it keeps them fresh in our minds. Yeah.
Yeah, that's another thing I didn't think about. Y'all don't leave the stage.
No.
So maybe 6 is like arguably the hardest show to be an understudy or cover because there is no referring to your script off stage, like you're just saying.
Yeah. I mean, I'll give it to us because we do have a unique role. Like a lot of people that swing are doing like so many more roles than us, but they're like ensemble tracks, you know? So
Mhm.
it's kind of just like, okay, what side of the stage is this choreo instead of like, whose personality am I today? And like who, um, I don't know, what lead character am I today? Which I think makes it a lot more challenging and things that people I don't think maybe would know just by watching the show is like every pose in the show is choreographed.
Mm.
They're all very intricate and tiny differences, and that we call them bams because the music always goes
Mm.
bam like every time that we hit a pose. So
Mm.
those are all super choreographed. So that's what I'm always like going over bams for. So I don't know. It is a different challenge. Yeah.
Got it. Okay, last question on 6. Do you have a
Mhm.
favorite track that you cover?
You know, I feel like every time I go on for a new one, I'm like, oh, surely that's my favorite. So like I got to do pretty much all three in the last like week and a half, which is pretty normal. We do go on a lot. So that's something I'm very thankful for. But I don't know, I think they all encompass different things that I do well. Like Aragon is certainly like where I just get to be really sassy and just come out there and do this like niche thing that's
Mm.
quirky and funny and I like doing. Seymour is like super emotional. And I love getting to sing Heart of Stone, especially being the only Black Seymour on Broadway. Like
Mm.
I take that honor very heavily. I also would create the first all black cast ever of the show, should also the Howard call out, because we do have a Black girl that covers Howard.
Mhm.
So that's very special to know that in that track, I could make that show history, herstory, as we say.
Yeah.
Um, and I think Par is kind of like most of the things I do well. So when people come to the show, I'm like, oh, you ought to see Par because that was like, you know, the most well-rounded, I think, of all three of the tracks that I have. But they're all kind of like my children at this point, and they always come around right when I'm like needing some. Like I did Aragon 2 days ago on Sunday night, and I kind of needed some sass because I'd done Seymour for a whole weekend the week before. So it was like they all come around right when I want them, which is
Yeah.
nice.
Okay, so aside from 6, how do you or what do you do on a daily or maybe a weekly basis to find a moderation to life so it's
Mhm.
not just 6 the musical?
Yeah. So this took a lot of chat with my life coach because I was like, I don't know how to create routine when my job is the antithesis of that. And I don't know who I'm going on for. I'm waiting all day to get a text to see if I'm going to go on. It's just like a lot of up in the air. And I'm somebody that's a planner. So I think about the time you had messaged me a while back, I was like, how do I incorporate my workouts again? Like, I feel so out of place. Like, what do I do? The show for me is not as challenging physically as like Lion King was. So I'm like not getting the cardio that I normally would get. I'm not doing it every day the way I was with Lion King. So like, what do I do? So you had messaged me and like, try this program out. And I was like, okay, good. And that was like a good jump start into like my workouts, which do make me feel very good. And like, I'm an athlete at heart. I was an athlete growing up. So my body enjoys feeling active and strong. And, you know, so that's helped a lot. Inserting workouts into my day.
Can I pause? Can
Yeah.
just for the enlightenment to the audience and
Mhm.
their hopefully inspiration for them, what specifically are things that like what is made better by you being physical in training, or
Yeah.
your mindset, or like how is your show affected? Like what kind of
Mhm.
specific things are you like, hey, I'm really seeing the benefits from this?
Yeah. Certainly just physically, I see benefits. I think especially because I'm off stage, it does help to be consistently moving every day because you never know when you're going to go in. And I don't want to be caught being like, oh, I've not moved in a week. And now I have to do Aragon, which is a 17-pound costume with the most squats in the show. Like why they gave it to that track, couldn't tell you, but they did. Bless them. So I have to be literally weighted. So I've got some weighted vests that help, and they give them to us in rehearsals as well, so that we can prepare for that. But that way, my knees and my quads aren't caught off guard. When when I have to do that track. So that helps for sure. It helps make the show easier because I'm an athlete-minded person and my body likes feeling active. I'm such a mesomorph. Like, she loves building muscle. So it helps me to feel like I'm in character for my body, what my body wants, which is to be active. So yeah, I guess it takes away a little bit of the, am I ready to go in today? Because I know that my body's in shape. I've been doing what I need to do. I've been eating the way that I need to eat, and I'm ready at any time to go in. And I'm not going to be super winded or puffed going into the show because I've just done a 30-minute HIIT workout that was like maybe more challenging than what I just did in the show. So it helps for conditioning for sure.
Got it. What sports did you play growing up? You saying you were an athlete?
Yeah, I was a big track and basketball gal, which I miss a lot, but I'm not like, we mourned the loss of the athlete Kristina, who was a very aggressive, into it person. And now we save that competitive energy specifically for auditions. And that's the only time we let her emerge, which I think is healthier. But yeah, I was big track and basketball, was like wanting to go to college for them. But I was like, you know what? I'd love to double major. So I was like, I don't think I have time to be a student athlete on top of 20 credits a semester. So that's where we ended up with that. And that's when athlete Kristina went to go die for a little while. So
I love how you brought up the competitiveness for the audition process. I think as a former athlete, there's quite a bit of an advantage, like mindset wise, to that when auditioning, because maybe typically a lot of the times as performers, maybe we didn't have that experience growing up. So the competitive nature of it might not seem natural. So for you, like, how does it remain healthy for you where you like allow it to help you instead of work against you?
Yeah. Ooh, that's a good question. I think so with basketball specifically, I was a point guard, but then like was a 2 or a 1 on defense because I was a stealer. Like, I was always stealing the ball for a fast break. That was like my gig. That's what I did. So even still, like, my parents when I was younger would say, like, go swipe that ball, because that would kind of like, they said there was just this different energy that would come out of me when I was wanting to swipe the ball. So now, even if you scroll back to my text messages from my parents as I was walking into the audition room for 6, you will see a text from my mom that says, swipe that ball. So like it's so helpful to just tap into that one thing, to be like, I'm gonna go get this, and this is mine, and just take it. So that's how it. But then we only let it, like, we just let the cap up for just 1 second, and then we put it back on and be like, okay, we're calm, we're cool, collected, and all of that. But it's nice to have that extra gear to tap into when I need to just like go take it,
Absolutely. Amazing. Okay, we're gonna cap it there. I love that.
Cool.
You gotta take it, people. If you want it, no one's gonna grab it for you except yourself. So go out there and do what you got to do. Go get it. Okay, Kristina, thanks so much for spending the time with me on Built for the Stage podcast. Appreciate you.
Thanks for having me. This was awesome.
Yeah, my pleasure. All right, everyone that's listening, that was Kristina Leopold. Make sure you go to Instagram, give Kristina a follow at TinaPold24. I'll put that in the description of this episode. So follow along with her journey. Congrats again. If you haven't seen 6 yet, wow, it's an amazing show. If you just want to, like, I don't know, have your jaw dropped, have your foot tapping, and have some laughs along the way, 6 is a great show to go see. So make sure you go support. I'm Joe Roscoe at Built for the Stage. Actors or athletes, train like one. Later.